A sense of unease gripped me the moment I stepped into the eerily silent Walmart late one night. The fluorescent lights, usually blinding, flickered with uncertainty, casting shadows that danced and swayed to an inaudible rhythm. I, a man of 30, with a courage built from years of skepticism and denial of the supernatural, found my heart racing in the overwhelming quiet. This Walmart, nestled at the edge of our town, had witnessed a gruesome event years ago. A man, deranged and lost in the labyrinth of his own madness, met his tragic end in aisle 9. I never believed the stories, the whispered tales of hauntings and eerie occurrences, yet I was drawn, a magnetic pull leading me into the depths of the store that unsettling night. I needed paint, a mundane task, an ordinary need. Aisle 9, with its streaks of colors, was where I found myself, my feet tracing the steps of the long-deceased man without my conscious realization. The air was different there, colder, denser. The dim lights flickered more fervently as I ventured deeper into the aisle, the shelves towering over me like silent sentinels. A can of red paint tumbled from the top shelf, its clamor shattering the silence. I jumped, heart pounding against my ribcage. The red liquid flowed like blood, tracing patterns on the floor that seemed eerily like anguished faces. I tried to convince myself it was just paint, a mere coincidence. As I bent down to clean the mess, whispers filled the air, words inaudible yet sinister, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand erect. The atmosphere was charged with an unseen energy, a force that seemed to seep into my bones. The echoes of the departed soul imprisoned within these walls. Shadows morphed and contorted. In the stark, ominous quietude, I heard footsteps. They were not my own. A chill of terror coursed through my veins, every logical explanation attempting to assert itself, yet crumbling in the face of the implacable, oppressive fear. In the pools of spilled paint, a reflection appeared. Not mine, but of a face, twisted in agony and madness, eyes hollow with an eternal torment. It was him, the lost soul of aisle 9, the specter of the bygone tragedy. Every fiber of my being screamed to run, yet I was paralyzed, ensnared in the gaze of the damned. I could hear his thoughts, or perhaps the remnants of them, the dissonant symphony of madness that had consumed him, echoing the sinister melody of his final moments. He spoke of an abyss, a perpetual darkness where his soul was trapped, tethered to the very aisle where life had abandoned him. I was a prisoner to the experience. The barrier between the living and the dead dissolved. The air was thick with his anguish, every silent scream etching itself into my soul. The temperature dropped further. The cold was like the touch of death, attempting to claim me into its somber embrace. The shelves around me quivered, products plummeting to the ground, each impact a percussion of horror that resonated within the confines of the store. The lights extinguished, plunging me into a darkness so absolute it seemed to swallow the very essence of hope. In that all-encompassing night, the whispers grew louder, echoing the sinister chorus of his life's tragic symphony. Every secret fear, every repressed terror surfaced, a storm of horror untethered. When the lights flickered back to life, the spectral presence was gone. The air, though still cold, was not charged with the sinister energy of moments before. A silent terror lingered, an unspoken testimony to the nightmarish ordeal. I left the store, the clamor of the fallen products a haunting melody that followed me into the silent night. The town slept, oblivious to the macabre dance of the shadows in aisle 9. I never spoke of that night, the echoes of those sinister whispers buried deep within the recesses of my soul. Yet, every shadow cast by the flickering lights, every silent night, brings with it the haunting memory of a soul, lost and tormented, forever imprisoned within the sinister confines of aisle 9. I carry with me the chilling knowledge, a Walmart, a temple of the mundane, is home to an unspeakable horror, a silent witness to the dance of the shadows that lurks within the silence, waiting to recount its haunting ballad to another unsuspecting soul who dares to tread the hallowed grounds of aisle 9. And so, I pen this account, a testimony and a warning of the haunting echoes that linger in the silent aisles of the Walmart at the edge of our town. For in the depths of the ordinary lies a darkness so profound, it threatens to consume the very essence of the living, a chilling narrative of anguish and madness, forever etched in the silent echoes of Aisle 9. Every town has a story, a chilling tale whispered from one generation to the next, casting a shadow upon the hearts of the brave. It's been a decade since I had my encounter, yet every shadow, every unexplained sound, throws me back to that fateful night. The night my reality blurred with an unspeakable terror. Walmart was the heart of our small town. A confluence of lives, it bore witness to the mundane and extraordinary alike. But what occurred that night defied reason, transcending the boundary of human understanding. It was an unusually cold winter night when my old Chevy betrayed me. The shrill sound of grinding metal echoed in the silence, marking the death of an old faithful. Stranded amidst the icy gale, Walmart's distant lights promised sanctuary. Upon entry, an eerie silence engulfed me, an uncanny stillness that mocked the tempest outside. The aisles were deserted, the stillness interrupted only by the hum of the fluorescent lights. I ventured deeper, the vast emptiness echoing my solitude. In search of a phone, my journey led me through aisles of towering shelves, a labyrinth of consumerism where the ominous presence of an unseen entity lingered. It wasn't long before the inanimate came to life. The first occurrence was subtle, a can rolling down the aisle. Rationality whispered of an unsettled placement. However, an unshakable dread crept into my soul. Then whispers began to fill the air, indistinct and ethereal, reverberating with an insidious intent. As I delved deeper into the store, the incandescent lights began to flicker, casting an eerie dance of shadows that twisted and merged, morphing into grotesque figures. The air grew dense, every breath a cumbersome endeavor, laden with the smell of decay. In the aisle of toys, amidst the benign faces of dolls and action figures, I came across an unspeakable horror. Toys with lifeless eyes started to stare at me, their gazes following my every movement. I, a grown man, was plunged into a cesspool of primal fear. In this realm of quiet dread, my screams were the only testament to my existence. Every step forward was a struggle against the oppressive air that sought to draw the life out of me. The whispers grew louder, resonating with my darkest nightmares. Figures cloaked in shadow lurked at the peripheries of my vision, vanishing upon direct gaze. In the frozen food section, amidst the foggy doors, a sinister reflection emerged. Not of my own, but of a haggard, demonic entity. Its eyes, piercing through the icy mist, held tales of an ancient evil that lurked these aisles. Reality and hallucination melded. Each product, each label bore cryptic symbols of a language lost to time. The aisles spiraled into an endless maze where spectral figures flitted, their indistinct forms oozing an unholy aura. The epicenter of this haunting was the electronics section. Amidst the static buzz of the unsold televisions, a video played on a loop footage from the very store in the days of its inception. Customers, employees, children, all blissfully unaware of the impending doom that was to befall them. As I stared at the looping footage, a cold realization crawled upon my spine. These were the souls now entrapped, their eerie whispers permeating the air, their shadowy figures haunting these endless aisles. I staggered towards the exit, the sinister chorus of wails and moans following my harried footsteps. My every movement was reflected in the eyes of the unsold dolls, their stares cutting through the darkness. Freedom, however, was an elusive specter. The exit receded with every step, the overhead lights casting an otherworldly glow, illuminating my prison. It was in this perpetual nightmare that the floor beneath gave way, plummeting me into an abyss of darkness. Morning light and the sound of employees opening the store stirred me from unconsciousness. I was sprawled on the cold, hard floor of the electronics section, the terror of the night etched into my soul. They say it was hypothermia, that the cold had seeped into my bones, conjuring a nightmare from the depths of my subconscious. But every shadow, every whisper bears testament to that nightmarish reality. Walmart still stands, an unassuming structure at the heart of our small town. However, beneath the buzzing lights and crowded aisles lurks an unspeakable horror, a haunting tale of souls ensnared, echoing the chilling wail of the damned. In the deafening silence of the night, amidst the swirling snow and icy winds, if one listens closely, the sinister symphony of wails and moans can still be heard, a haunting refrain that lurks in the darkness, awaiting the arrival of the next unsuspecting soul. As I begin this account, a hesitation pulsates through my trembling hands. The keys under my fingertips feel icy, a stark contrast to the warmth of the laptop that sat unused for weeks. It's taken every ounce of willpower to relay the events of that sinister night. A night that, I assure you, is as true as the terror that still lingers in the depth of my soul. I was 19 then, an average teenager bustling with the unbridled energy of youth, always hungry for an adventure. A late-night trip to Walmart was a ritual, an escapade we savored after the mundane repetitions of the day. It was on one of those nights, as the clock hands struck 2 a.m., that the reality I knew, the safety I had always felt, was snatched from my grasp. The Walmart was a sanctuary, endless aisles offering limitless possibilities. My friends and I would roam, laughter echoing, the glimmer of the overhead fluorescent lights illuminating our youthful innocence. But not that night. No, that night, the lights flickered ominously, casting grotesque shadows that danced menacingly against the stark white walls. I was alone in the frozen foods aisle, the cold penetrating through the thin fabric of my jacket. The others were scattered, some unyielding temptation of a midnight snack pulling them away. A deep, ominous silence enveloped me, every hum of the refrigerator, every distant laugh of my friends, absorbed into the oppressive quietude. A chill coursed down my spine as I reached for a packet of frozen peas. The air was dense, imbued with a sinister energy that made my stomach churn. A laugh, cold and malevolent, echoed through the aisle, each cackle a blade slicing through the air, piercing the veil of silence. I spun around. Empty. The aisle was empty. But the laughter persisted, growing louder, more menacing. The lights above flickered violently, casting an eerie dance of light and shadow that seemed orchestrated by unseen forces. Fear clawed at my insides. This was a terror unfamiliar, an energy that consumed every fiber of reason. I sprinted towards the exit, the once familiar layout of Walmart twisted into a labyrinth of torment. Aisle upon aisle seemed to stretch into an infinite expanse. The air grew colder, the laughter more sinister. It was inescapable, closing in from every direction, a symphony of terror orchestrated by an unseen conductor. In the toys aisle, a doll, eyes void and black, stared into the depths of my soul. In the silence, amidst the haunting laughter, it whispered secrets unspeakable, truths unnerving. I was a puppet, every step, every breath orchestrated by the sinister forces that now claimed Walmart as their haunting ground. After an eternity of torment, I stumbled into the parking lot. The night air, though frigid, was a welcome escape. But freedom was an illusion. Behind me, the doors slammed shut, the malevolent laughter echoing into the silent night, a haunting lullaby of the terror that lay imprisoned within those walls. I found my friends huddled by the car, their faces pale, eyes void of the youthful innocence that had once defined us. We left Walmart, the sanctuary of our youth, now a haunting ground of unspeakable terror. Silence defined the ride home. The laughter, though distant now, echoed in the depths of our souls, a sinister symphony that will haunt us for eternity. Even now, as I write, the laughter persists, a haunting reminder of the terror of that night. Walmart stands, a silent monolith, untouched, unchanged. But those who have felt the sinister forces that lurk within those walls know the truth. In the dead of the night, when the world sleeps, a sinister symphony of haunting laughter and eerie silence orchestrates a dance of terror, consuming every soul unfortunate enough to wander into the haunting ground of the true Walmart horror story. I remember it like it was yesterday. The sky was painted with a vengeful hue of red, as if the heavens above were warning me to stay away. I was 19, naive, and utterly oblivious to the sinister events that were about to unfold. A simple job, I thought. A means to an end. If I had known the horror that lurked within the seemingly innocuous walls of Walmart, I would have run and never looked back. My shift started at 11 p.m. The nocturnal silence of the store was occasionally interrupted by the humming of the air conditioning and the distant clatter of the night fillers stocking shelves. Alone yet surrounded by a myriad of products, I was stationed at aisle 13, an unremarkable aisle filled with unremarkable items, or so it seemed. It was an ordinary night, until the lights started to flicker, casting eerie shadows that danced menacingly against the shelves. Chalking it up to a mere electrical glitch, I continued with my work, though an unsettling feeling of dread began to coil in my stomach. As the clock chimed midnight, an icy chill sliced through the air. Shivers raced down my spine as the temperature plummeted inexplicably. The deafening silence of the store was punctured by the sinister whisper of a child. The whisper grew into a cacophony of ghostly voices, echoing the tormented cries of souls long lost. The shelves around me trembled, products tumbling down like the ominous prelude to a symphony of terror. Frozen in fear, I watched as cans of food rolled down the aisle, forming a sinister path that led to the toy section. A sense of an unspeakable evil beckoned me forward, each step echoing the rapid beats of my terrified heart. The toy section was bathed in an otherworldly glow. Amidst the rows of innocent playthings, an old, withered doll stared at me with soul-piercing eyes. Her gaze, malevolent and penetrating, held the torment of 100 souls. A sinister voice, neither human nor ghost, whispered my name. Panic surged, but an invisible force held me captive. The aisle transformed before my eyes. The shelves, once stacked with toys, now bore witness to unspeakable atrocities. Grotesque images of tormented souls, their eyes pleading for mercy, surrounded me. The malevolence in the air was palpable. A tale of an ancient curse, uttered through the fractured sobs of the damned, filled the air. Decades ago, this Walmart was built upon sacred grounds, a burial site for children who had suffered untimely and horrific deaths. Their souls, angry and vengeful, were awakened by the construction. Each product on the shelf, each aisle, was infused with their everlasting pain. The doll was their conduit, an artifact of unspeakable horror that held the spirits captive. The echoes of their anguished cries, forever imprinted in the walls of Walmart, would send shivers down the spines of those who dared traverse the haunted aisles. I don't know how I escaped that night. The memories are fractured, a terrifying mosaic of horror and despair. I was found unconscious at the break of dawn, the sinister whispers of the tormented souls still echoing in my ears. The Walmart stands to this day, a silent sentinel to the horror that lurks within. Aisle 13 remains untouched, a chilling testimony to the night of terror that I will never forget. Every item on the shelf, every corner of the store, whispers the sinister tale of anguish and despair. Those who dare venture into the haunted precincts of Walmart after midnight bear witness to the eerie silence, the sinister whispers, and the malevolent gaze of the withered doll, a chilling reminder of the vengeful spirits that roam free, forever echoing the horror of aisle 13. I still hear those haunting whispers, a chilling lullaby of terror that reverberates in the depths of my soul. No passage of time, no distance, can ever erase the unspeakable horror of that night. Walmart, a sanctuary of consumerism by day, transforms into a sinister catacomb of terror by night, where the aisle 13 bears silent witness to the echoing cries of the damned. I share this as a cautionary tale. Beneath the glaring lights and bustling aisles of Walmart, a sinister evil lurks, forever imprinted in its walls, forever echoing the terror of that fateful night. Every whisper, every chilling breeze is a haunting reminder of the vengeful souls that dwell within, waiting to recount their tale of horror to any who dare listen.